Debt snowball. This method begins with the smallest debt, not the largest. It may seem counterintuitive at first, especially for those who think in terms of interest rates and efficiency. But the origin of this strategy is not mathematical, it is psychological. When a person pays off a small debt quickly, something subtle changes. The progress becomes visible, almost tangible, like clearing objects from a crowded room. That sense of movement builds momentum, and momentum often matters more than precision. What makes it different is that it prioritizes human behavior over financial logic. It matters because many people fail not from lack of knowledge, but from lack of sustained motivation. Debt avalanche. This approach focuses on the debt with the highest interest rate first. It comes from a more analytical mindset, often used by those who view money as a system to be optimized. Over time, high-interest debts quietly grow in the background, almost unnoticed until they become overwhelming. By targeting them first, this method reduces the total cost of debt in the long run. What makes it distinct is its efficiency, like stopping the fastest leak before anything else. Yet it requires patience because results are not always immediately visible. It matters because it reflects discipline over emotion and long-term thinking over short-term relief. Negotiation with creditors. This method involves direct communication with those who are owed money. It is older than modern finance itself, rooted in the basic human act of negotiation. Many assume debts are fixed and unchangeable, but in reality, there is often room for adjustment. Creditors may accept lower amounts, extended deadlines, or revised conditions, especially when faced with the possibility of receiving nothing at all. What makes this approach unique is that it transforms a rigid situation into a flexible one. It matters because it reminds people that financial systems are still built on human decisions. Negotiation with creditors. This method involves direct communication with those who are owed money. It is older than modern finance itself, rooted in the basic human act of negotiation. Many assume debts are fixed and unchangeable, but in reality, there is often room for adjustment. Creditors may accept lower amounts, extended deadlines, or revised conditions, especially when faced with the possibility of receiving nothing at all. What makes this approach unique is that it transforms a rigid situation into a flexible one. It matters because it reminds people that financial systems are still built on human decisions. Income expansion. This approach does not focus on the debt itself, but on increasing the flow of money entering one's life. It often begins with simple actions, taking on extra work, developing a skill, or finding overlooked opportunities. Historically, people relied on multiple sources of income long before modern employment structures became common. What makes this method powerful is that it changes the equation entirely. Instead of only reducing what is owed, it increases the capacity to pay. It matters because limitations are often not just about debt size, but about income boundaries. Expense reduction. This method looks inward, examining daily habits and patterns of spending. It is less about large sacrifices and more about consistent awareness. Over time, small expenses accumulate quietly, like drops filling a container. By identifying and adjusting these patterns, a person begins to reclaim control over their financial environment. What makes it different is its subtlety, as the changes are often almost invisible in the moment. It matters because financial imbalance is rarely caused by a single decision, but by repeated, unnoticed behaviors. Structured payment planning. This strategy involves creating a clear and consistent plan for paying debts over time. It reflects the human need for structure, something seen in routines, calendars, and long-term commitments. Instead of reacting to bills as they appear, the person defines a path forward in advance.
What makes it distinct is the sense of predictability it introduces, turning uncertainty into a sequence of manageable steps. It matters because uncertainty often leads to avoidance, while structure encourages steady action.
Asset liquidation. This method involves selling possessions to generate immediate cash for debt repayment. It has existed for as long as trade itself, where objects could be exchanged for value in times of need. The process can feel uncomfortable, as it often requires letting go of items once considered important. What makes it different is its immediacy, converting stored value into active financial relief. It matters because sometimes progress requires transforming what is owned into what is needed.
Behavioral reset. This approach goes beyond numbers and strategies, focusing on the underlying habits and decisions that created the debt. It is not tied to a specific financial tool, but to self-awareness. Over time, patterns repeat quietly, shaping outcomes without being noticed. By observing and adjusting these patterns, a person begins to change not just their situation, but their relationship with money. What makes it unique is that it addresses the cause rather than the symptom. It matters because without change at this level, even the best strategies can become temporary solutions.